Hi friends, good morning. Welcome back to Table Full of Joy. If you're new, I'm so glad you came to join us today. If you've been following along for a while, welcome back. You're in for a treat today. So I'm going back to my childhood this morning. I was asked again to bring treats to Bible study this evening to our women's Bible study group. Super privileged to be able to do that because I love to bake, I love to cook, and I just love to feed people. So I was excited when she asked me to do that again. And so I was thinking what kind of a cookie would go good with tea. And it just kind of dawned on me, there's a cookie from my childhood that I absolutely loved eating at my grandmother's house. My grandmother used to buy them, I think it was called Archer or Archway brand, clear back in the 70s and 80s, that had this cookie. It was a frosted oatmeal cookie. And they were so good. I loved those. And I haven't had one of those in forever. So I thought this would be a great cookie to bring tonight to Bible study. Some of these ladies are close to my age, so this may bring them back to their childhood. So I'm excited to do that. So we're gonna make this cookie, and then we're also going to make a gluten-free cookie that's also a keto. We're gonna go kind of old school with that one too. We're gonna do a no-bake cookie for the ladies that cannot have these cookies because they're either gluten-free or they're keto. So we are going to jump in the kitchen right now. We're gonna get these oatmeal cookies made, get these baked because I cannot wait to taste one. So come on in the kitchen. All right, so we have our stand mixer ready to work. We're gonna get our paddle attachment put on here. This is just a basic cookie. There's nothing super special about it. But what I realized as I was preparing to make this cookie, I'm out of regular flour. I cannot believe that. So it's a good thing that we have a shopping haul coming up tomorrow, I believe it is. So I'll be okay. I did some research. You can actually use bread flour in replace of all-purpose flour. The texture may be just a tiny bit different. It may be a little bit drier. If your dough is a little bit drier, then use a little bit of water or a little bit of milk or something like that to put a little bit of moisture back into your dough. But we're gonna start off with our sugar, our butter, and our eggs. We're gonna get those things combined in the mixer, and then we're gonna start adding the rest of our ingredients. So we have 1/4 cup of just white granulated sugar. We have a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. We have 1 egg. And we have 8 tablespoons or a 1/2 cup of softened butter. So we're gonna just put, excuse me, we're gonna put all these things in our mixing bowl with our paddle attachment. And we're gonna turn our mixer on, and we are gonna start to get these things combined together. All right, so we need to get a bowl. I forgot to grab a bowl out, so let's get a bowl out real quick. We need to combine all of our dried ingredients that we have. So let me get our bowl set up. Let's get our cookie scoop ready to go, and we will get moving on these cookies. All right, so we have our mixing bowl here. We are gonna go ahead and do our 1 cup of flour in our bowl. This is gonna be an interesting experiment because I have not substituted bread flour for regular all-purpose flour before, so this will be interesting to see how this works and how the dough looks based on using a different flour. But I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna put in a teaspoon of cornstarch. We are going to put in a 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. We are going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I hate those little restrictors that are on there. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. We need 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We also, earlier, we took our oats. We need 1 cup of oats. Old-fashioned oats are what they ask you to use because they're a little bit bigger. So we took our old-fashioned oats and we put those in our blender, or you can use a food processor if you don't have a blender. I don't have a food processor anymore. That is actually on my wish list. I'm hoping to get one here soon. We just haven't done it. We need 1.25 teaspoons of cinnamon. And we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We're gonna put that in here in just a second. We're gonna put that into our liquid things. Let's move all this other stuff aside, get it off the counter so we've got room to work. All right, we just need our teaspoon left. Let's grab our whisk. We just use a little whisk so that we are able to thoroughly combine these dry ingredients together. All right, so before we add our flour and stuff, let's go ahead and put our teaspoon of vanilla into our egg, sugar, and butter mixture. This is our homemade vanilla. There is nothing like homemade vanilla, let me tell you. If you ever have the chance to make it, I highly suggest you do because it is so much better. All right, we're gonna mix that in real quick. And then with our mixer down on low, we're gonna go ahead and just slowly stir in our flour mixture. And because we are using bread flour, I wanna check the texture on this before I make the decision to go ahead and add our oats to it, because I want to see if this is too dry, if it needs to have a little bit more moisture. I think we're good though. It looks fine. I don't see any problem with the texture of this. It seems to have a good stickiness to it, so I think we're good there. We're not going to worry about it. So I took our oats and I put those in my blender so that I could get these all mixed up. We're going to go ahead and lift our top on here, and we're just going to dump all these in. It's 1 cup of oats. Let's make sure we get them all in there. And when you put your oats in your blender or your food processor, whichever you're doing, you want to make sure that you're only pulsing it just a few times, because we really need to have some whole pieces as well as ground up oats. All right, this is looking super good. I think we are gonna stop right there. Let's grab a spatula so that we can scrape our dough off of our paddle. These smell so good. They really do smell like my childhood. I was blessed to have my grandmother my entire life, pretty much, my entire childhood anyway. She lived 1 street away from us. And so I was always at her house. There was not a day that went by for 18 years that I did not see her every single day. And so that was a huge blessing for me. She's the one that gave me my love of cooking, my love of food, my love of feeding people and entertaining, and all those things are things that she recognized in me, and she nurtured those things as I was a kid. So it was always super fun to get to hang out with my grandmother in the kitchen, baking and canning and cooking and doing all the things together. Was always so fun. All right, so we've got our dough pretty well scraped off our paddle. I think we have enough of it off of there now. We're gonna go ahead and move our things off of here. We're going to get our mixer out of the way. We're just gonna push it over here real quick so that we have a little bit of room to get our cookie sheet down here. I'm gonna take my spatula and I'm just gonna go along the bottom of our bowl, because it looks like, you know, you always have a couple little straggler batches or patches of flour that maybe didn't fully get mixed in, and we want to make sure those get mixed in really well. So this is what our dough looks like. You can see the really fine pieces of oats that are mixed in there. So we've got our Silpat down here. Our oven is preheated to 350, and we are just going to scoop some cookies. I'm using my small scoop because I don't want to make these cookies super big. I want these to be the ones that we used to get when I was a kid. When they came out of the package, they were about this big. They were a pretty good size, pretty substantial cookie. But we are taking these to Bible study tonight, and most everybody has already eaten dinner, and I don't think anyone wants a huge cookie. If they want a big cookie, they can eat 2 of these. There's going to be plenty. So we're going to do that. We're going to get these scooped. We're going to get these put into our 350-degree oven. I'm super glad that we did not have an issue with the flour. I was a little worried about using bread flour versus all-purpose flour to make these, but it doesn't feel like the dough is dry or not going to cook okay. I think we're going to be good on this, so that was a good thing. I'm happy about that. So we're going to get the rest of these on here, get these popped in our oven really quick, and then we still have our no-bake cookies that we need to make. I love no-bakes. Everybody loves no-bakes. So we're going to do a keto-friendly no-bake cookie, which means that we are going to not use regular sugar. We're not going to use regular peanut butter or nut butter because those have sugar in them. So we're going to use a fresh almond butter from our local grocery store that has a machine that allows you to grind your own nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter. And what I happen to have on hand is almond butter from another recipe. So we're going to use that to make these delicious little no-bake cookies for the ladies that are keto or gluten-free and cannot have these cookies. But we still want them to have something special. All right, so we have our cookies on our pan. We're going to put these in here at 350 for about 10 minutes. We'll come back and look at them, see what they look like. In the meantime, we're going to get things cleaned up a little bit, and we're going to get ready to make the next cookie. All right, so while our cookies are in the oven, we're going to move forward with our no-bake cookies that are going to be the gluten-free keto version for tonight. So we have 2 tablespoons of butter. We are going to microwave this for just about 30 seconds. And while we're doing that, we're going to get our other ingredients measured out. So we need to have 1 cup of unsweetened coconut. So typically, no-bake cookies have oats in them, and oats are not keto friendly. So that is a no-no. So for this recipe, they are substituting the oats for unsweetened coconut. So we're using a organic, unsweetened, dried coconut. And nuts are completely keto friendly for the most part. So instead of using peanut butter, which a lot of peanut butter has sugar in it, which is a keto no-no, so we are not using that. We are using an all-natural almond butter. So we are going to put in 4 drops. This is a keto, no sugar vanilla extract. So we're going to put in 4 drops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add 1 more for good measure. I always add a little extra vanilla to everything. So we have that in. Oh, I can smell that already. That smells so good. Let's grab our spatula, give this a quick little stir. We're going to go ahead and put in our cocoa powder. It calls for 1 tablespoon. That's about what I have left in this container. So we're going to go ahead and just polish this container off. If it's just a little bit over, it's totally fine because it's cocoa powder. I mean, who doesn't love cocoa powder? Who doesn't love chocolate? So we are going to give this a little bit of a stir, get our lumps out of our cocoa powder. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and mix in our 2/3 of a cup of our almond butter. So I have my handy little measuring cup here. I love these things. These things are amazing. Almond butter is very stiff. It's very sticky. It can be hard to work with, but that's why I love this measuring cup that I have, because this is what helps work with these types of ingredients that are super sticky, super hard to get out of a measuring cup. We're just gonna pack this down in here. And you know, now that I think about this, I think I might go ahead and chop a couple of almonds, just a few almonds, to give this cookie a little bit more texture, a little bit more flavor. We are doing almond butter, so we do have almonds here, but I think I want some bigger chunks of almond in these cookies just to give them a little bit more texture to them, a little bit more flavor. So we're gonna pack this in here. Almond butter has to be packed to get a correct measurement out of it, so let's get this right here. Probably gonna do it. This is probably gonna be our 2/3 right here. Pretty close. Let's do one more little scoop of this, just for good measure. This little bit right here in the container. My husband will probably eat this when he gets home from work. He loves almond butter. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and push this just like that. That's why I love these measuring cups. They are so easy to work with. All right, so then we are going to go ahead and put in our coconut. Let's smash this down just a little bit. And let's get our coconut, our 1 cup of unsweetened coconut that we're going to put in here. We've got our spatula right here. And we're going to go ahead and just mix this around. Get all of this coconut coated in this cocoa powder and the butter mixture. Mash it around, make sure that you're getting that almond butter really mashed good in here. Let's just look at our texture first before I decide if I am gonna put almonds in this. Maybe I won't. It's got now that I break up the almond butter, it looks like it's pretty chunky. So I think we're gonna leave it. I'm afraid if I put anything else in this, it's just not gonna hold together. So we are gonna have to mash these together with our hands. We're gonna have to form these into our little cookies. But I think these are gonna be super good for the people that cannot have the oatmeal cookies that we did. Let's check on those. Not quite. They have a couple more minutes, so we're gonna let those hang out. So while they're doing that, let's go ahead and get our no-bake cookies formed. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of my big scoops, my large cookie scoop. To scoop these out, we're gonna put these on our parchment. So we're gonna pack these and then we're gonna drop them. And we're just gonna kind of push them down a little bit. They are gonna set up as they sit out. They're gonna come together a little bit more. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one down. These have to cool and basically kind of dry out a little bit. So we need to give them time to do that. These are going to be super good. We want to give them time to sit out. I think we probably are going to refrigerate these though, because I think they need some cool air. It's cold here today. Again, we are probably in the 20s, and so my house is warm. We have 4 little rescue dogs. All of them are of Chihuahua nature, all 4 of them, from a purebred Chihuahua to 4 little mixes. And so they definitely require the heat being on when it's chilly outside. So I think my house might be just a tad bit too warm for these to set up all the way. So I think we're gonna go ahead and pop these in the refrigerator. We're gonna let these just hang out in the fridge all day, and we'll take them out of the fridge just before we leave to go to Bible study tonight. is when we'll pull these out of the fridge, and they should be good to go. All right, there is our cookies. It made 9 of these no bakes. I probably made them a little bit bigger than I should have, but I think it's gonna be fine. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. So we're gonna put these on a cookie sheet, put these in the refrigerator, let these chill out for the day, and we're gonna get moving on our oatmeal cookies. They should be coming out of the oven here in just a couple minutes. All right, so our cookies are ready to come out of the oven. They are smelling so good. Those are beautiful. They're gonna be even more beautiful once we put our powdered sugar glaze on them. We're gonna get these on our cooling rack so that they can cool. These are gonna have to cool all day. They're gonna have to just hang out here, and then later this afternoon, after they're completely cooled, we will come back and we will put some icing on these so that they remind us of our childhood cookie, the Frosted Oatmeal Cookies that were so tasty at my grandmother's house, even though they were store-bought. I'm sure that you can probably buy these still. I'm sure that there is a brand that still makes these frosted cookies, but I wanted something homemade. So we're gonna go ahead and scoop some more dough. We think we'll probably have enough here for 2 more pans because we're not making these super big. We're making these pretty small. So we are gonna finish scooping these out. These are gonna be so good. I'm so excited to try one of these, but I am going to refrain from eating one until after they have completely cooled and we get our icing on them. And then we need to let that icing set up because that's part of this cookie. Is it needs to have time for the frosting or the icing to completely set up on the cookie so that it's nice and hard. So we may only get 1 more tray out of this. I was thinking we would get 2, but it looks like we're probably just gonna get 1 more, which that's totally fine. I mean, it's gonna be plenty of cookies. I'm not worried about that at all. I actually do have some leftover Texas sheet cake from Sunday that my husband has been kind of nibbling on, but he hinted last night that I should bring it to Bible study and get it out of the house because he does not want to be tempted to eat it. So I will probably bring that. I'll probably cut that up into smaller pieces and bring it more of little bars, but we will see. Looks like okay, we might have enough here for a little bit, a small tray once these come out. So we're gonna go ahead and get these back in the oven. These are gonna go for another 10 minutes. Then we're gonna pull these out, do the last couple, and then they're just gonna hang out for the afternoon. I'm gonna get some work done while they're cooling. I have several videos I need to get edited to get uploaded for you guys to watch. So once the cookies are finished, I'm gonna go sit down and do some editing, get some computer work done, and we'll come back later this afternoon and we'll get our cookies all frosted and they'll be beautiful, ready for us to bring to Bible study tonight. All right, so I smell our last couple of cookies are done. We got 2 full trays and 3 extra cookies in our pan. Switch hands here. I'm right-handed, so I need to hold this with my left to get these last 3 cookies off the tray. Now these didn't flatten out as much as like the cookies that I remember. The smell is still the same, so that's good. I think that if I make these again, we're gonna try them tonight. If I make these again, I think probably what I'll end up doing is I think I'll flatten them out a little bit. I'll scoop them, but I'll flatten them out a little bit so they can spread out. They're supposed to be a little bit thinner, but they're not bad. I think they're gonna be okay. They definitely have a good texture to them. So I think we're gonna be okay with these. And they are supposed to be a little bit on the crunchy side. They're a crunchier cookie. They're gonna have that beautiful little glaze that's gonna go on them, or that frosting. So here is our little oatmeal cookies. We are going to let these cool completely. We're gonna come back, put a piece of parchment paper underneath our cooling rack so that we can put our frosting on here. And I am going to, while these are cooling, I'm gonna go sit down, drink my cup of coffee, and get some editing done, get some computer work finished, and get my meal plan going. That's another thing that I'm working on today is my meal plan so that we can go do our big grocery haul either tomorrow or Thursday. Go get our grocery haul done. I'll get the meal plan figured out and everything. So I have some things to go do while these are gonna cool. And so we're just gonna move on with our day. And we'll come back in a little bit and we'll let you guys see this beautiful, beautiful frosting go on these amazing little oatmeal cookies. All right, friends, it's been several hours. I got caught up doing computer work, editing some videos. Our cookies are completely cool, ready for us to put the frosting on them. It's a very simple frosting, powdered sugar, vanilla, and milk, and that's it. So we're gonna put in here about a cup of powdered sugar. Try not to get powdered sugar all over everything in my kitchen. That's always the chore. We're gonna put in a splash of vanilla. This is, again, our homemade vanilla that we did. That looks about right. And then we're just gonna put in some milk. Let's grab a whisk so we can get all the lumps out of this. We're just gonna put a splash of milk in to start with. I wanna make sure that we don't get this too runny, but that we have a good consistency. And I just splashed powdered sugar on our cookies, but it's totally fine. I am spilling it everywhere. I think we are gonna have to use just a touch bit more because I want this to be just a little bit. Well, no, maybe, I think we're good. That actually looks pretty good. I think we did good first try. How about that? All right, so we have this all mixed up. Let's go ahead and get rid of our whisk. Drop that in our sink. And then we're just gonna take our spoon, and it doesn't need to be a super heavy coating of this frosting. We're just gonna use our spoon. We're gonna ice these. We want to get icing all over the top of our cookie. That is how I remember these cookies when I was a kid, is that they had this beautiful little icing all over the top. So we're just gonna keep icing our cookies, put a little icing down, use the back of our spoon to kind of just push the icing all over the cookies. These are gonna be so good with some hot tea tonight. Our weather here has been a little bit cool, so that's gonna be super exciting to have one of these tasty cookies with some hot tea. Takes a little bit of concentration, at least on my part, so I don't end up wearing this icing all over. But I don't want them completely covered. I like to have a little bit of the cookie still showing, but I also want to get that covered before our icing decides to set up, because once it starts to set up, it's going to be really hard to spread. So we need to be diligent about making sure that we're getting all of our frosting on our cookies before the icing decides to set. So we're just going to keep icing these cookies until we get this whole tray of these cookies done. And then we will come back and let you guys see what they look like. They are going to be super pretty. Like I said, I really remember these cookies as a kid, and that little bit of sweetness that you get on the cookie with that kind of not really a spice, but a warmth that you get from the nutmeg and the cinnamon that's in these cookies. Just makes it super, super good. These just are gonna be super good though. I'm excited. I try not to eat this stuff. I know I do an awful lot of baking in my kitchen, and I try not to eat this stuff if I can help it, but sometimes you just gotta do it. But other times I try to restrain myself and not get too excited about sweets, because it kind of defeats the purpose of me fasting in the morning, to fast, you know, for hours and then break my fast and eat something like this. So a little bit every now and then is not bad. But I can really smell this. This actually has a beautiful smell to it. And I like that it's not your typical oatmeal cookie, because, you know, your typical oatmeal cookies are very chewy, they're very soft. These are more crunchy, which is going to make them super perfect for a cup of tea, because you can dunk this in your tea because it's a soft, or because it's a firm cookie. It's a little crunchier, a little bit harder, which makes it a little easier for you to dunk. I hope I made enough frosting. If I didn't, it's super easy to make more. I still have all my ingredients sitting right here, and I can make another batch of frosting real fast. It won't take very long. I just don't like to overmake. You know, I don't like to have a whole bunch of icing made for stuff, because it's just going to go to waste. But I may have to make a little bit more. We'll have to see how this looks, but this is looking good. I am super excited though that I get to bring treats to Bible study and to our life group on Fridays. As I've said before, cooking is what I do, and it's what brings me so much joy, is just getting to cook for people and to bless them with things, and that just makes my heart happy. So that's what I love to do, is I just love to give them. So we are going to have to make a little bit more frosting, but not too much. Looks like we're just going to need enough for the last row of cookies. So we'll make one more batch, just a small batch real quick. Let's go ahead and finish this off with this last cookie in this row. And then we are going to make a little batch of frosting to do the last cookies that we have on here. And then these need to just set for several hours and let that frosting really start to set up. All right, so just a little bit of powdered sugar, just a tiny, tiny dash of vanilla, because we're not making a whole bunch. Let's get our lid put on correctly. And I think we're gonna need, well, maybe we can do it with a spoon. Let's see. A little bit of milk. See if we can just mix it with our spoon. And again, I'm flinging powdered sugar everywhere. That's the only bad thing about using powdered sugar for stuff, is you end up having it all over your kitchen. I mean, it literally is everywhere. But that's okay. It's gonna be fine. My husband already texted me earlier and said he is super excited to get to eat one of these when he gets home. He's got some leftover coffee from this morning, so he will be having a cup of coffee and a cookie when he gets home. So that was what was getting him through the last half of his day at work, was knowing that there was a tasty little treat at home waiting for him with a hot cup of coffee after being out in the cold all day. I am definitely ready for spring. I'm ready to start getting my garden put together. I have a lot of my seeds already. We still need to order a few more, but we have the majority of our seeds. So you guys will be seeing a video soon on seed starting. So we're going to be doing that here in probably the next week. I need to go through my seeds and see what I've got, because I have a whole list of seeds that I want, and there's a few that I haven't gotten yet, so I need to go through the list, figure out what I do have, and maybe I'll bring you guys along with me when I do that, when I do the list. Let me put this in the sink really quick. All right, so these are our beautiful little, see if I can do this with the parchment paper underneath it without drop. Maybe not. Oh, we can do this. We'll just do this. There we go. All right, so here is our oatmeal cookies with the frosting on them. Icing, this is a nostalgic cookie from my childhood. Super excited to try these tonight with a cup of hot tea. And I'm so glad you guys joined me today to make this little nostalgic cookie in my kitchen. It means so much to me that you guys would take time of your day to spend time with me. I hope that you'll come back and visit me again. I hope that you'll follow along with some of the fun stuff that we have to do. We've got a lot of fun things coming up soon, and I'd hate for you guys to miss those things. So to ensure that you don't miss out on any of those things, hit that subscribe button right there. Make sure that you guys hit the notification bell up there so it lets you know every time that I upload a new video. And most importantly, hit that like button down here. If you enjoyed this recipe or you like the content in here, please give that a like, because that's how you help me build my channel, is by hitting that button. So I'd really appreciate if you guys would give me a thumbs up, help me to continue to build my channel, help me to continue to share my love of cooking with anybody and everybody that finds my channel. If you liked this, please share it with your friends. You can hit the share button down here. You can share this with anybody that you think would enjoy this recipe, or check out my other videos that I have and see what else I'm doing in my kitchen, and maybe there's something in there that you think somebody would enjoy, and you could share that with them as well. But it's such a blessing to me when you guys all join me in my kitchen. It just means so much to me, and I'm so thankful for each one of you for your love and support. And as always, friends, God bless and have a great day.